We're like mayor. Keeping all this in order.
Yeah.
Welcome to Daylight Savings on that. First of all, before we start, as you well know, we just had an election, and I don't know whether my long distance classes are here, but I'd like to congratulate.
I can't hear.
Are you there?
We can't hear back here.
No, it's on.
It's on.
Oh.
Try.
In the base closer.
It's on.
There we go.
All right, good. I'd like to congratulate my running mates, Olympia Lou Purdy, and also Patricia Hendricks Farmer, will be new councilwoman on January 1st. So, adequate notice of this meeting of Lawrence Township Council being held on Thursday, November 9th, 2023, has been provided through the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said council in accordance with Section 13 of the Opens Public Meeting Act. Said notice was forwarded to the Trentonian, Times, and the Ledger on December 11th, 2023. And Madam Clerk, if you would remind inspiration, pledge of allegiance, and the roll call.
That we carry out our work at this meeting in a just, honorable, and sincere manner, always bearing in mind our duties and continue to keep on our wonderful community in which to live. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bonner.
Here.
Mr. Mackey.
Here.
Mr. Duff.
Here.
Mr. Powers.
Here.
Mayor Lynn.
Here. Special proclamations, recognition, and presentations. We have, is there anyone from Community of Lights here? All right, well, give you a little brief history on it. It's a proclamation where the women's spaces belief in peace begins at home. Started in 1977 for abused women and sexually assaulted women on it. So it is a proclamation, we do it every year. And I believe, Madam Clerk, is it, you can buy candles at the post office? I know you did years ago.
I'm not sure about it.
And what they do, you just line, the walkways and light them, and we have a ceremony out here on it also, I believe, in Weedy Park. Public participation, 5-minute limitation, and is there anyone? Please come up, state your name. For the record, if you don't mind, putting your address on a piece of paper with your name, and then just state your name.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Politi. I'm here to recap the Trenton Block issue and the recent court settlement published online. Please listen carefully. According to New Jersey State DEP aerial photographs taken 11 years ago in 2002, Trenton Block, a business located on Cherry Tree Lane, operating as a non-conforming use in a residential zone, appears to be encroaching on the township-owned land designated as open space. This photograph appears to be evidence of a zoning code violation of an illegal expansion of a non-conforming use. 1 year later, in 2003, Trenton Block is sold, and according to the deed of sale, there is no mention in the survey that the business is occupying Lawrence Township property, contrary to DEP photographs. According to the deed, the seller was represented by our now township manager, who was also in 2003 Lawrence Township attorney and an agent of the township. At a council meeting last year, the manager made comments that appeared to indicate he had knowledge of Trenton Block's encroachment at the time he represented the seller. According to DEP photographs taken 4 years ago in 2020, shows business operations have expanded even further onto several other township-owned adjacent lots. The trees were visible on those lots at the time of the sale now appear to have been entirely removed. This appears to be evidence of additional encroachment and vandalism of public property. In December of 2020, the new owners met with the township manager to request a spot zoning change and sell them the township open space. This act would remedy any illegal encroachment and vandalism claims by the township. The township manager embraces the idea and pushes the project forward. In June of 2020, the residents of Colonial Heights received a public notice advising them of a public hearing on an ordinance to change the property zoning. The ordinance contains false and misleading information that the planning board favorably recommended the zoning change, when in the truth is the planning board rejected the zoning change. Residents continue to attend council meetings to provide proof and photographs of the ongoing destruction of township parkland, zoning code, and Title 39 violations, but the township ignores the law and issues no summonses. In July of 2020, the township manager orders a title search of the owner's property in the township lots. The cost for the title search to Lawrence Township is $3,500. However, the invoice from the title company is made out to Kevin P. Nowinski Esquire, attorney at law with the address of his law offices of 1800 Lawrence Road. Records show that the title company was paid by a Lawrence Township purchase order using public funds. In August of 2022, the Lawrence Township engineer finally sends a violation notice to the owner, ordering them to vacate the property and return it to its original condition within 30 days. However, there is no mention of fines or penalties for noncompliance. 9 months go by and the township lots are still occupied and township property has not still been restored. Residents continually go to the township council meetings asking why the owners had not been fined and held accountable under the law. Under constant pressure from the township, the residents to do something, the township files a complaint in Superior Court against the business. The owner of the property responds to the complaint, and one of their separate defenses is plaintiff's claims are barred by reason of the doctrine of unclean hands. According to the internet, the unclean hands doctrine applies to cases where the plaintiff, which is Lawrence Township, has acted unethically in connection to the circumstances that have led to the suit. The intent of this doctrine is to keep a person from abusing the justice system in order to benefit from a situation they created by acting in bad faith. Which leads me to why I'm here today. 8 days ago, Lawrence Township settled the complaint. And what a raw deal this town got. Not only does the defendant not have to pay the township back for the thousands of dollars in legal fees, surveys, and title searches, the owner does not have to restore the parkland that was destroyed and filled with crushed stone. Did the council cut a deal with the property owner to protect unclean hands? If so, whose unclean hands are you protecting? Had the township taken this to trial, the whole history would have been brought out. This appears to have been a settlement to make this matter legally go away and prevent a lot of questions from ever being asked so the public finds out the truth. Those council members that voted for this settlement aided and abetted in the various actions, not only at the expense of the taxpayers, but at the expense of the ethical integrity of our township officials. It's time to come clean, council. Tell us tonight how each of you voted for this settlement. All the documents I referenced are right here for council to look at, and I'll hand these over to the clerk. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Blady. I didn't know it was settled.
It's not settled. It is resolved, and it's resolved under the consent order that I gave to each council member. The council was advised of the terms of the settlement. I think what we've just listened to is a mischaracterization of what's taken place over the last few years. But more to the point, this is a property dispute. What the owner has agreed to is our property line. They are returning to their property. This has been an ongoing situation for decades. They had arguments, legal arguments, that they had adversely possessed the property and can assert title claims, which go beyond the current owner. They go back in time, decades upon decades, where this operation was being conducted.
I'm not going to stand here tonight and go through the whole history. I understand Mr. Politi is upset, but I think he doesn't understand fully what is happening in the lawsuit. The defense of unclean hands is a canned defense that is put in every answer that's filed in Superior Court in any matter that's in any way similar to this. That's what every defense attorney pleads. It's one of 13, 14, 15 affirmative defenses that we all plead when we go to litigation. That allegation has nothing to do with any unclean hands by anyone in this municipal building. No one I know during my term here. The dispute was a property dispute. It's been allowed to exist for 50, 60 years perhaps. The matter is now resolved. They are back on their property line. They must move their gate within 60 days. And it's been my recommendation that we erect a fence and there will be no further intrusion on the township property. That's been the discussion at council meetings and closed session for the last several months.
Mr. Rock, did we vote on this? Did we have to vote on this?
Yes, you all approved it. You
I didn't
gave me
approve
the
it.
authority to move forward on
When
this.
when I spoke.
I'd like to ask the other council members if they did not authorize this settlement. I'm not going to, Mayor, I'm not going to engage in
Because I
a
did not
discussion
vote
right
for
now.
this.
Oh, well, that's fine, Mayor. You can say you did not vote for it. That's fine. I would just like an acknowledgement by the other council members. Now, I know Ms. McDuff cannot participate. She has a conflict. Her law firm represents the property owner. It's simple acknowledgement by the majority members that this settlement was authorized would be appreciated. Mr. Kanaki,
Yes, I voted.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Powers.
Yes, and there was no objection. I'll point for the record. There was no objection. Silence.
Right.
Silence, Mayor.
No,
Right.
I
Yes,
never voted
silence.
for this.
There was-
No, you're wrong.
There was silence.
You're wrong.
You're lying.
There was silence.
Silence.
You did not
Speak up.
respond at all.
You know, can I make a suggestion? Mr. Politi's had his say. This isn't the proper forum to get into a debate about this right now. This matter has been in Superior Court. I was authorized to sign this consent order, which I did do, and Judge Bartle signed the order. So I think we should move on with other business at this point.
Not good enough, Mr. Roscoe, not by a long shot for me. Mr. Mayor, may I have an opportunity to protect my character and my integrity to the community that I was raised in?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Politi, I am so disappointed in you. And all of you have taken your time to come to me and say, Kevin, don't fight back. Kevin, keep your mouth shut. Kevin, don't say a word. It's not about you. It's about me. And it's about my character and my integrity and my standing in the community. And I'm tired of Mr. Politi attacking it without the facts or knowing the facts and disregarding them. He knows that I sent him an email describing in detail everything that transpired back in 2003. And for everyone else, I've been a practicing attorney, a private practice of an attorney in Lawrence Township for at least 28 years. At that time, I had a private law firm, and I was engaged in the private practice of law. In addition, one of my clients happened to be Lawrence Township. I represented the seller of Trenton Block to the new current owner. Mr. Hickman was a college soccer teammate of my father's who asked me for assistance in selling his business that he owned for decades. I assisted him to do that. Lawrence Township, as a municipal government, had absolutely not one single thing to do with that transaction. It was a private transaction. If, for any reason whatsoever, Lawrence Township as a community, as a municipal government, had anything to do with that, my position as a municipal attorney would have precluded me from acting as I explained to you, Mr. Politi. Since that was not the case, I was very happy to help my dad's friend and college soccer playing roommate or a teammate to sell this property. 20 years go by. I had absolutely zero dealings with the new owners of Trenton Block. Not a single time did I go there and buy something, or a single time did I even meet with them. I don't think I even met with them at the closing. I just prepared closing documents.
I represented the old seller, not the new owner. So as I'm the Director of Community Development in Lawrence Township, as a part of my responsibilities as municipal manager, it is my obligation and my responsibility to accept every single phone call from a property owner or a developer who seeks to speak with a township official about the potential of doing developments in their land. It's my job. I don't get to close it and just hang up the phone and say, I don't want to talk to you because somebody like Mr. Politi is going to give me a hard time and present me to the community with as something other than completely ethical and completely moral with integrity. It's my job to do it. And I take every single phone call and I meet with every single developer because that's what I'm supposed to do for this town. I have no authority to buy land, sell land, or spend any money on behalf of Lawrence Township. That authority goes to these council members. I have no authority to make decisions, to instigate lawsuits at all. It's the governing body that does this. Anything that I do, I seek the majority's position on, so I am guided with regard to it. I had nothing to do with what happened in the Trenton block in terms of the new owners coming to me. Eric, could you stop making faces at me? Seriously, we're trying to be grown-ups here, and I'm trying to protect my integrity here, okay? So how about you stop making faces at me? And I apologize to all of you. My character and my integrity mean more to me. And if I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and if I speak in a way that you find offensive, I deeply apologize to you. But it means everything to me. And when I'm done here, I'm going to have the private practice of law, and I hope and expect my community looks at me favorably. And this is my one opportunity to a captive audience and on YouTube to defend myself from the attacks of corruption. Let's not make a mistake. It's an attack of corruption. And if you guys don't realize it, it's an attack of corruption on you as well. From somebody that sat up here, that's somebody that participated in closed sessions, time after time, that's somebody that voted yes for developments, that's somebody that voted for all the things that you're supposed to do to advance the community. That's what Mr. Politi has done when he sat up here, so he knows full well what's going on. I took a look at the proposal from Trenton Block, and I felt it was a win-win situation. I felt it could offer a buffer, a better buffer to the surrounding neighbors and houses by creating and pushing the building back, by expanding the acreage so the inventory and all the work could not be on the street, that could be pushed onto the site to give relief. It was just my opinion. Just my opinion. Because you know what? Due process requires, and the municipal law requires, that these matters are not decided by one man or one woman who sits in a position of authority. We have a governing body here. They vote for these things. We had a public meeting at the planning board to discuss this issue, which is exactly what's supposed to happen. People showed up. I was sitting as municipal manager for 5 years at the time, did not hear a single complaint from a resident at all about the operations of Trenton Block. Not a single complaint. That night, I heard a lot of complaints for the first time. And I knew it was a situation that could not move forward. And who was the person that asked for it to be tabled? It was me, because I heard you. I listened to you, and the public process worked as it's supposed to work. You were heard, and the planning board tabled it. And then the next thing that happened was this governing body did not take action on it. So that's process. That's the way we're supposed to do things. That's the way we did things, because we comply with the law. I'm an attorney, identify as an attorney, and I will always, always comply with the law, whether it's uncomfortable to do, whether it exposes me to targets from low-lying fruit and allegations from people that may not completely understand the situation. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity of defending myself on this, because I don't get it from many people. So I want to do it myself, because all I have is my name at the end of the day.
Public participation, is there anyone else? Nick? Nick,
Should
you
I
wanna-
respond to?
And we have a legal memorandum that maybe we can release so people understand the law.
And please just state your name
Yes.
for the record, thank you.
Sylvia Cobus. I'm one of the residents of Colonial Heights. As this is my binder of all the documents we have collected about the issue of rezoning from residential to mixed 3, which would allow that business to conduct warehousing at a dead-end street and wholesale, which they do right now. There are big trucks exiting that business as we speak of right now not at the moment, but from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay? So the complaints did not come because we believe that business was grandfathered in or had the privilege of pre-existing non-conforming land use. There is reason to believe that this business doesn't have those privileges. To begin with, the township officials, the professionals, I'm not talking about, because all of those documents get prepared by the professionals, which are the municipal planner, municipal engineer, and municipal manager. That was proposed here to the council in June of 2022, okay? By July, that went to the planning board. At the end of June, we have received the notice, public hearing of amending the land use ordinance, okay? The planning board was meeting on July 18th, if I remember correctly, to hear that issue. We received the notice about the township council meeting that was happening the day after the planning board meeting. Excuse me, I just got a little excited. And quoting from the letter that we received about the township council hearing, not the planning board hearing. The planning board has determined that the revisions and amendments to the land use ordinance have no inconsistencies with the master plan. And that was written at the time before the planning board had met. That's why we have issues with that whole process. That's where all the lack of trust comes from. The beginning of this process here. I have mentioned that before at the council meetings. I have said about that at the planning board meeting. I advised them that the letter was written that way. And this is where we lose the trust. Not just with the manager. The manager is only a part of it. It's the planner and engineer. Because the planning board members, the zoning board members, the council listen to the professionals. What they recommend. Because these people here who are hardworking, all of them, the planning board members, the zoning board members, they're volunteers. They work very hard to keep our township beautiful and still allow businesses to come in where they are appropriate. We appreciate all of the work that these people put in for us. And then we have to, they cannot possibly go out there and see every little street in our township and understand what it's about. It's up to the professionals. And it's up to the professionals to have recommending, to only recommend the projects that are actually beneficial to the neighborhood. Most of you probably don't know where Colonial Heights is, and that's fine. Cherry Tree Lane is a very short street that, with a dead end, and that's where that business is located. And they do all of their loading, unloading on the street. And we've been saying that multiple places. I know that Mr. Manager is very upset that we come in and complain, and it's fine, that's his prerogative. He can have his feelings about this, but so can we. And we did not complain about it because we didn't understand we can complain about it. Since we learned that we can complain about it, we did. And we came in not with, oh, it wakes me up, or, oh, it's this or that. It's certain municipal ordinances that are being violated by that business. They have encroached, the old business only encroached on lot 15, and very little. It's the new business that encroached, took over lot 15, took over lot 16, and encroached on 4 more lots partially. Cut down trees, put at least 3 or 4 feet of fill to even out township land. And they're not responsible to clean it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Is there anyone for public participation, 5 minutes? Hold on. I think gentleman right here had it before you.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a comment to Mrs. Kobus, or in response to her statement, if you don't mind. This is a good opportunity for us to get this all out in the open because we all want transparency. Can I have the opportunity?
If you wait for.
Sure. Sure.
Could you state your name, please, for the record?
Yes, Nick Scuzzari. I live on Sunset Road in Long Acres for 30 years. I've been in the township for 65 years. And I know most of you up here. So our neighborhood is concerned with the position that this township is taking as to harming the values of our homes, destruction of our quality of life in our neighborhood, with the construction of the potential construction of the firehouse, the DOT mandate of dumping 300 or 400 cars out on the West Long Drive, which, Kevin, you had that conversation with my wife, it's documented. That was part of the traffic light install. So now it brings us to 3 West Long Drive, where now the township wants to purchase the property to house Public Works Administration. So, and this is all in social media, it was all published. So there was an exchange going back and forth with my son and Kevin and several other neighbors. So my son asked the question, what does the township plan to do with this property? And so Kevin answered, and one of the things that Kevin said, it says the thinking is to acquire the property on 3 West Long Drive and keep it completely as it is, as a residential type dwelling. That statement is very misleading because Kevin should know that once you take a property from a residential property to a commercial property, it triggers the ADA Act. So now you get into parking lots, lighting, signage, handicap ramps, and you tear out all of the landscape of the property, so you completely Kevin?
No.
So you do not follow the ADA Act?
Okay, what I said was that there's, I know, but that the dwelling would remain exactly the same. If there is a ramp that's required, yeah. I didn't go into all the details. We're not even.
This is misleading
So
to the general public.
I don't think it is at all. I think
Absolutely.
it meant to. The words were that it wasn't going to change. It wasn't going to change. So it wasn't like it wasn't going to be raised and it wasn't going to be a new building that was going to be placed there.
Mr. Mayor, I have to object, this is not public debate, this is public comment.
Oh, it's a conversation, it's a
But
conversation.
that's not what she said. So anyway,
Okay.
in addition to that, the renovations to conform to the ADA compliance, parking, lighting, paving, curbing, ramps, interior bathroom, interior renovations, is probably north of 300K. So now you're $1 million into the project. And I'm sure that somewhere along the line, someone must have presented a budget to the manager to help make a decision that he wants to spend $1 million without any of us having any opinion on this process. But I really believe that the purchase of this property is down the road, will complete the puzzle of the potential firehouse here. I think that there's going to be calculations on that property that will allow this firehouse to be built. And all of this traffic, putting another 400 or 500 cars a day out on West Long Drive. And that's not right, and we are prepared to litigate all the way through. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Zard.
What are the zoning requirements for municipal property, Dave?
Is there anyone else for?
Any
public
comment on the
participation?
The municipal property and zoning
1 second,
requirements?
John.
He's talking about ADA, so it's.
Mine's
it's
just
going to-
really simple.
If you mind,
Neighborhood safety.
if you mind signing your name. and your
What does
address and
Ryder
just
use
your
it
name
for
the
right now?
record. Thank you much. Thank you so much, sir.
Nothing right now, but I mean, it was housing.
It was housing, not offices.
I'm shaking my boots. But anyway, I'm concerned about safety.
Could you state your name, please?
Walter Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
I've been back, I was a New Jersey guy, first I was an Oklahoma guy. Then I was a New Jersey guy. I graduated from Fort Dix after I served in Vietnam to help train new troops to take our places back in Vietnam.
Thank you for your service, sir.
And I enjoy it. Over and over again because it's working. Sitting here watching you guys, I love it. My concern is with the safety of the neighborhood. There's this intersection in our great little township of Lawrence at Fackler Road and Princeton Park. And every day, all day long, they don't have something as simple as a traffic light. Since I've been back, I've watched, unfortunately, these people that are just really determined on making sure that they get through that area without causing trauma. I went and I've had many conversations with, can we do something? We have a lot of tax dollars, can we just put up a traffic light so these people can go through that intersection without harming each other? That's America. That's what I fought for, the safety of all of us. And this area there's been no focus on trying to put up one little traffic light. I think we all pay a right to the taxes that could contribute to that one traffic light that would bring happiness to all those people that go through those intersections all day long. That's Fackler Road and Princeton Pike. And that's the only reason I'm here. Everything else is wonderful, marvelous. I love it. I love all the things that we're doing to make America stay safe and prosperous. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Fackler Road and Princeton.
Princeton, I have it written right now. Right here, sir.
I don't want nobody to die. Thank
I
you.
got brackets around it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public participation? 5 minutes. Mind coming up, just signing your name and your address and then your name for the Microphone, please.
Good evening, my name is Peter Kovas. I would like to make comment about recent court settlement between the Township of Lawrence and Trenton Black and Hardscaping Supply. I believe the outcome in this lawsuit is outrageous and disappointing. How is it possible that Trenton Black and Hardscaping Supply was allowed to exploit township land under the watchful eyes of hired Lawrence Township officials without any consequences? It might be related to the doctrine, but like I said, I'm not a lawyer. And as a final word, I don't have confidence in hired township officials who are not equally invested in all parts of Lawrence Township. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else for public participation?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
You sign in, your address and your statement for the record, please. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is John Clark. I'm a resident of Long Acres. I live on Orchard Lane, directly adjacent to Long Drive in Lawrence Township, right here behind the town center. First of all, I'm grateful to be here this evening. When I came here from Lawrence, I came from California, from Los Angeles specifically. And I remember reading the bios of everyone on the council, including Mr. Bobbitt, being from Los Angeles.
Another Dodger fan?
Indeed, indeed. And I just had an opportunity. I first started my career serving overseas, advising U.S. military as well as congressmen on the threats to our nation's security in Latin America as well as the Middle East. And then I had an opportunity to work in private sector for crisis management and resiliency, and specifically response to emergency situations. I've had the privilege to work with the NFL, Super Bowl in Minnesota, as well as other games. And now I'm very fortunate to work as an advisor to a Fortune 100 firm, as well as to my community and giving time to charities around the world. But specifically, I'm here today because I'm concerned about the change and the potential change of our neighborhood of a fire station if it were to be put in Long Drive, not only because of the amount of density and traffic that we already have along Route 206, but also the numerous fire stations that we have currently serving the 206 corridor. And I'm gravely concerned because of the high density of the commercial, industrial, and residential properties all located along Quaker Bridge Road, as well as Route 1. And I think that 10 minutes is, some people would say it's a good response time. And that's what that study might have said. But when we're talking about life and death situations, we're talking about gas leaks, when we're talking about high density, 800 unit buildings, 300 unit buildings, 400 unit buildings, as well as complexes, our firefighters deserve to have an advantage. And that advantage is 3 minutes. It's being able to be there in 5 minutes. And that means the most dense areas of this town are further east. The single family areas along Route 206 are already well served by 3 different fire stations at this time. But the areas like Lawrence Square Village, 820 units, is located south of Costco. And we've noted in studies that Costco has highly flammable materials within the building. And we would hope that a sprinkler system would be able to deal with that, but we don't know. I think the other thing is when we look at the hydrocarbon testing that has, I think they said that has several thousand gallons of liquid hydrogen that's highly flammable. on New York Avenue, these are risks. What we learn in crisis management is it's good to mitigate risk by having your responders in multiple locations. So we're not just having all of the police officers next to the fire station right down the block. We need people spread out throughout the city. Earlier today, we had an accident on I-295 eastbound right before Route 1 that caused a significant delay for individuals going northbound on Route 1. This could happen at any time. At 5:30 p.m. today, right out front, there was a long line of cars right from the town center. My point is, if at all possible, I think we should give an advantage to our firefighters to be able to respond to those high density areas. And those residents, those people deserve that. Not just the single family areas. We have the volunteer firefighter as well at Ryder. We have a volunteer firefighter up at Bristol Myers Squibb to deal with incidents there as well. 206 is well covered, but our Quaker Bridge, Route 1, further east neighbors are not. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your time.
You have to go to the center, please. Thank you. If you don't mind just signing the paper, your name and your address and then your name for the record. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Marian Ciavata, and I'm the second owner of 28 Sunset Road, and I've had 4 children that grew up in that house, and now we have grandchildren that I babysit there. And a while ago, our next door neighbor sold, the old mayor, sold her house with nobody knowing anything, and boom, Eden Institute. And it's great, except there was police there, people were getting arrested, right in the middle of a really stable, wonderful little development. That also is very well maintained, mostly. So now I've come to find out by some neighbor, thank you, whoever it was that sent this, you want to take, and I know about Ryder not doing well, I get that, I get they're having financial difficulty. But to come into a neighborhood that's very long established, so I guess my house is like 58, 59 years old, and, do Eden Institute, for blah, 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 and now you want to make this commercial, it erodes the integrity, and eventually, little by little by little, it won't be a wonderful community. I know that I'm willing to fight it as far as we need to. I'm not ready to leave to sell our house, and I don't want that, whether it's the very first house or any of the other houses. It's not commercial. I paid the money I paid a long time ago, and I paid the taxes, and I don't expect it to be taken and, oh, we're gonna do this or we're gonna do that for the town, for Ryder, for anybody. It's a neighborhood, and it should not be commercial. And whoever that gentleman was, but he had wonderful information. I applaud that. I'm just coming to you as a resident that raised my kids here and now my grandchildren, and I will be not happy if this continues. And now, if it's gonna continue, I'm gonna get my mommy pro on. I'm gonna fight it. If you wanna hear me, go ahead. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else for public participation? We'll get you next, sir.
Yeah, he's just getting ready to go.
Oh, okay, yeah, you have to go. If you don't put out a sign.
Circle.
We've had a couple people jump over
Hello, I'm the police and I live on Sunset Road. What I think everyone's asking is the transparency. Kevin mentioned that. In Lawrence Township, there's a lack of trust. amongst the people, and you know. I live right behind the police station. When you guys built it, no one told us you were gonna build that big building. You didn't hear from us. We felt public service. We need a place where there was that water. The water line changed because it was a swamp and it was drainage. Our entire house flooded, not only our house, but the house next to us. We didn't come to you and say that you reimburse us for paying waterproofing and drainage, so we're not complainers. We respect our township, and if there's anything that I'm frightened of more than anything, it's fire. So ideally, they had a fire engine, and that it's nice to have it close by where it is. But I didn't move here to have a fire station on the corner. I actually didn't move here to have Green Acres change and to drive out there every night. It's lit up as if it's daytime. If you drive at night down West Long Drive and the lights are in front of you, you don't know whether it's a car coming through or the lights. But you didn't hear from me to complain because I think, well, that's what you guys felt too, like Kevin said, community development. I get it. But how much more can we do for the township by not saying anything? So yeah, we're prepared to say, leave our neighborhood alone. We wanted the sound wall, we never got the sound wall. You heard from us, but eventually we went away because you guys are not gonna, you can't get the money for whatever reason. Police station, I love the service of everyone, I do, but this is a community and we have kids and dogs and people from across the street, they now come over and they're walking all around. We don't need that extra traffic and it is very dangerous already. So I'm hoping, I know this business, I know that it's important to develop, I get it, and I know that this is emotional and finances don't always go together, but at some point, Lawrence Township, man, it's like enough. You know, please take into consideration, being honest with us, giving it, whether it's legal for you to do so or not, this is small town America. You're supposed to let us know what's going on and be truthful. Because, you know, once that house gets sold, we're not stupid. We know that across the street might get developed, all of a sudden the residential changes, no one's going to want to buy a house. I live in the neighborhood. And you should really visit our neighborhood. I know, Mr. Powers, years ago, you knew the mayor who lived back there, and you came back there and you visited during the block party. I was there. We're good people, good neighborhood. So I hope that you would consider saving our neighborhood and being transparent and communicative for real. Because right now, it's kind of shady, and that's how I feel. Okay.
Please just sign in the next week and then the record. Thank you.
It's gonna move on.
Hi, my name is Dr. Ramon Lizardo. These are my neighbors. Most know me as a physician, also as a CEO in Silicon Valley. I commute back and forth from California, but this is home. This is where my kids are growing. This is the place where I spent the most time of my life. And this is why I'm here today. So I'm showing up simply as a concerned father and husband and a resident of Long Beach, sharing my trepidation about the safety of the neighborhood, and most importantly, our children. On March 17, seeing the escalating traffic and its associated dangers due to the activities that are business related on the house 54 West Long Drive, I voiced my concern to the municipal clerk, Carter. This possesses a real threat to the quietness and safety of our homes, where our children and families constantly play. We chose because it promised a 1990s-style conservative and safe environment. Our investment in our home reflects our commitment to this lifestyle. And unfortunately, the tranquility we pay a premium for is under threat. On November 1st, following a second incident, I reached out again to Mrs. Carter, sitting to the right, advocating for traffic mitigation measures to protect the safety of our community. It was after that that I learned there was a proposal to integrate the house on 3 West Long Drive into the municipal building. While I appreciate the town's growth and development efforts, I'm concerned about the additional traffic and the risk this could introduce to our already burning streets. The allure of progress should not come at the cost of children's safety and the disruption of the neighborhood's character. Let us remember, every decision we're making is going to echo in the legacy we leave with this town. The security of our children is non-negotiable, and the sanctity of our community must be upheld. And it's not merely about traffic. It's about preserving the way of life and ensuring the laughter of our children that it's not drowned out by the sound of cars, and that their play is not overshadowed by worry that's going to happen on the street. So as we consider the future of 3 West Long Drive, I just want to urge you to prioritize our community's safety above all else. Let's not enhance the dangers, let's eliminate them. One final point, because what I'm hearing a lot is this, the difficulty in the town expressing the transparency of this council. And it actually pertains to transparency to the fabric of this community, which is intertwined by transparency. Lately, there's been a trend of open communications on social media. And when the members of our community raised questions about the issue, a response came not in the spirit of public discourse, but with an invitation to take the conversation to the private channels. And this response came from Kevin at the end of the bill, who, to my astonishment, I Google and I see that he's the municipal manager. So this lack of transparency doesn't align with the character of Lawrence, a community that prides itself in openness and eagerness for growth. This secrecy, this breeds doubt and concerns amongst residents who deserve to hear clear public answers to legitimate inquiries. So in conclusion, as we deliberate the property at 3 West Long Drive, which a few of us are quite interested now in purchasing, let's do so with the understanding that openness strengthens our community. And while secrecy only serves to weaken the trust that we spent years building in this community. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public? If you don't mind stating your name for the record, thank you, sir.
My name is John Knights. I live on Sunset Road. I bet you're all surprised. I have been in New Jersey for almost 11 years. I moved here after doing my doctorate in pharmaceutical and computer science. I like remote work in the tech space, and we purchased our house on Sunset with the intention of renovating and integrating into the community. This is my first ever town council meeting. Actually, normally it's pretty hard to get me out of my writing algorithms in my computer. So I'm not here to ask for hope, but I'm here to highlight that this is a growing community and we are prepared to fight for our community. And I echo Mr. Scazzari and everyone else who has said that. And I truly just want to be a voice on the record saying that I will fight for this community. And with whatever I have, I will also buy the house with either one. Thank you.
Sir, anyone else for?
Yeah, I'll be the last one to speak, unless anybody else.
State your name for the record.
Theodore Sivalakis, 40 West Church Road. I'm not looking to make this a habit of addressing the council. I don't expect to be here often. But my concern is that we're having a conversation about a very serious township matter right after we just had an election. 40% of this council will change on January 1st. And for our town to be discussing something that's so serious to the fabric of not only just our neighborhood, but the entire town in 206, this is not the time. We got 3 more meetings of lame duck. Let's get through it. Let's get a new council. And then let's discuss a matter of this seriousness then, not now. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, we're going to close that and move on. Review and revision, there is none on that.
Wait, there
Wait,
is.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
slow it down.
Did you want to? Mr. Mayor, I believe we have revisions. 8B, the closed session, 9C for the bid, and 18H1 for land acquisition. And, sorry. 18H11 for land acquisition, 18H12, and 18H13 to add to the agenda. Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Bobbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki?
Yes.
Ms. McDuff?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes. Make a motion for 8A, please.
Mayor, I'll move the 8A regular meeting of June 20th, 2023.
Second.
Mr. Bobbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki?
Yes.
Ms. McDuff?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes. For 8B, Mr. Roscoe's, I'm not sure, it was just dropped in our lap on October 3rd. I didn't go over it. It was just dropped to us tonight, just now, when I walked in. And we had our books delivered on Monday. So,
I think a version of this was given to you with your book, Mayor.
yeah, a version of it, but these are all revisions on it. I didn't get a chance to go over it. What do you suggest?
If you want to make a motion to carry this till the next meeting, feel free to do so. I mean, the revisions are pretty de minimis, but if you're not comfortable with doing that, you can make a motion to carry this to the
I
next
didn't
meeting.
even go over it. It was just dropped tonight, so.
Okay, I think the clerk was trying to get the minutes as accurate as possible, but you want to defer this to the next meeting, defer it to the next meeting.
I would like to do that.
Mayor, you're changing the agenda.
Yeah,
Mayor,
we just had review and revision
I'll-
agenda, and now we're changing the agenda, Mr. Mayor. So I would suggest that we at least go through the proper procedure.
Very
And
good.
Thank you.
Any motion?
I'll motion, Mr. Mayor, to table the 8B until the next meeting.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki? Ms. McDuff?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor
Yes. Can I get a motion for 9A, please?
Mayor, move 9A, number 303, authorizing awarding rehabilitation bid for 120 Villanova Drive.
Second.
This authorizes awarding a contract to Silvu Nedelsu Painting and Remodeling for $27,000 to perform work on an eligible property under Affordable Housing Rehabilitation Program.
Is there any public participation for this? Seeing none, we're going to close that. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki?
Yes.
Ms. McDuff?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Can I get a motion for 9B, please?
Mayor, move number 304, authorizing awarding rehabilitation bid for 113 Denal Road.
Second.
This authorizes awarding a contract to Unlimited Builders Construction LLC for $29,550 to perform work at an eligible property under our Affordable Housing Rehabilitation Program.
Is there any public participation for this? Seeing none, we're going to close that. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mr. Connectney?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Motion for 9C, please.
Mayor, move number 320, authorizing awarding bid number 23-11, refuse collection and trash disposal.
Second.
This authorizes awarding bid number 23-11 for refuse collection and trash disposal to Interstate Waste Services. We're selecting option 2 of the bid, which would include curbside and container garbage collection, including once a month bulk waste collection for the period covering between December 1st, 2023 to November 30th, 2024, in the amount of $1,186,752.60. Note, this is a deviation of services moving forward, reducing bulk waste pickup to once per month to realize a savings of $199,645.32. And the other additional note is that there was no bid received for residential organic waste collection. Presently, we have approximately 100 residents participating in our organic waste program who pay $38.50 per month for the service directly to the company. This will be discontinued effective November 30th, 2023. We will provide notice to the participants and look for alternatives to revive the program in the near future.
Is there any public participation for this? Seeing none, we're going to close that. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mr. Connectney?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Can I get a motion for 9B, please?
Mayor, move number 321, authorizing awarding bid number 23-15, 2023 snow plowing and services rebid.
Second.
This authorizes a bid to number 2315 to Yaros Landscapes for snow plowing services for $17,000.
Is there any public participation for this? Seeing none, we're going to close it. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mr. Connectney?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Dave, could you provide
Yes.
a summary of this process for this next
Before
one?
moving to introduction of ordinances, I would like to move to table this ordinance indefinitely. I voted against this the last time. It's my understanding to designate a property of redevelopment under the law, the municipality must demonstrate a certain specific problem existing that, you all right?
Yeah, no. Fine, Wednesday.
Okay. Cause actually a detriment and harm. I was never convinced of that. This whole exercise to do this is circumvent the zoning board. I urge my fellow council members to do the code and do the right thing and table this. Clerk, introduction, can I get a motion for 10A?
Mayor, I'll move.
Hold on a second.
The mayor made a statement.
A motion to table, and so that needs to be voted
I
on.
don't think there was a motion to table. He expressed his dissatisfaction with the finding that was already made by the planning board that this is an area in need of redevelopment. Mayor, you understand that's already taken place. This
Yes.
ordinance relates to a redevelopment plan. So I think that decision that this area needs redevelopment was made back in March by the planning board. The process is following the statutory requirements right now. This has all been open to the public for a prolonged period of time. This was the introduction of an ordinance. If you want to make a motion that this ordinance not be introduced, you can do that. You need a second. You need a vote. Should that motion fail, then the ordinance, because it's on the agenda, would be voted upon. But I think that's the procedural process to follow.
Yeah, very good.
You're going to make a motion
I would like to make a motion. Yes.
to table this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, that's the mayor's motion. Is there a second?
Anybody? Not seeing none. We'll move on.
We'll move on.
All right.
Can I get a motion for 10A, please?
Sure. I will move ordinance number 2460-23, ordinance adopting the 3131 Princeton Pike redevelopment plan. First of all, post-COVID, office complexes throughout the United States, throughout the world, are empty. People are not returning to the offices. There's vacancies throughout commercial real estate. The 3131 building has substantial vacancies it's, in my opinion, clearly need in redevelopment. And I move this motion.
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not accusing you of anything. I got a direct question for you. It's very simple. It's yes or no. On March 21st, 2023, an email was sent out to everybody on this council about 3131 Princeton Pike, conflict of communication. Okay? Something was said at the planning board, a document strictly for the planning board. You're on the planning board with me, and that email got out. My name was on it because I'm a planning board member. The question was asked, do you have any knowledge of how the email got out?
Why?
Yes.
I don't recall that, no.
Okay. Then it's my belief that you have a conflict of interest for 3131 Princeton Pike. I would please ask you to recuse yourself from anything dealing with 3131 Princeton Pike, whether it's council or the planning board, because it's coming back in front of us on the planning board on the 20th.
You recuse myself
From a
for
vote.
what?
You got a conflict.
What do you mean I have a conflict for what?
The email went out March 21st with the question that every council member up here received as general information about what happened. Everybody got that email on March 21st, 2023. You never responded.
And I never responded.
You know, I think at this point, rather than have a colloquy between the council members, why don't we just vote on this? I think there's been enough for a first reading introduction. Madam Clerk, why don't you call the roll at this point and we can move on with the agenda?
Beforehand, there was something that came from Princeton Sports and Family Medicine here that you dropped off at the office in support of 3131. But they want to rest on that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Do we have our second?
Yes, I second that.
Mr. Bobbin,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Mr. Duff,
Abstain.
Mr. Powers,
Yes.
Mayor Ryan.
No. Adoption of ordinances. Nine, managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to start by explaining to everybody here that when I was interviewed to take this position, the governing body asked me to be more transparent to the community, to be available to the community, to provide more information to the community. And they thought that that was essential to the position that I took. And they included memorialized in my contract the requirement to engage the community through social media. And in response to that, I have, since 2017, have created a blog site that produced many articles that revealed the thought process behind decisions that were made to give the community a better sense of why things were done and the reasons for them being done on all issues that affected the community. I think there's something like 66,000 hits on the blog site with regard to that. Those articles are released on our website, for people to use, and I often get comments and phone calls about them. And I was also asked to engage the community in social media in terms of Facebook, and I've tried to do that. And there are a small group of people that are intent on prolonging conversations. And my wife and my daughter are out in this audience right now, and I can't tell you how many times they've told me to stop trying to explain yourself on Facebook. Stop providing responses to misleading information. These people just want you to continue on and on and on. And then, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to do my best to engage with the community in terms of being transparent and better engaged. And I get a lot of positive responses when I'm out and about town. People say they like my articles in the Gazette. They say they never felt more informed. Everybody's silent now tonight. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But I'm committed to being open and transparent and revealing what should be revealed to the community at the appropriate time. I would tell you that I'm somebody that believes in the law and the process, and the things that transpired with regard to Trenton Block were all lawful, and the process worked, and the community heard, and the governing body and the planning board responded. It's like the perfect process was followed to stop something that the community didn't want. And so I'm actually, when people look at that and they use that against me, I'm actually kind of proud of the process because it was presented to the public, it was heard by the planning board, and it was heard by the governing body, and we moved forward without doing it. And so I thank you for that. But here's my manager's report. Our construction official, Michael Rogers, is scheduled to retire on November 30th, 2023. Mike has served Lawrence Township since July 23, 2001. He became our construction official after Anthony Cermelli's retirement in July 2020. Mike has done a tremendous job, and I enjoy working with him. I want to publicly thank him for his good work and wish him the best in his retirement. We have a succession plan, and an announcement will be made shortly concerning promoting a current staff member to the position of construction official. Keeping in line with the construction office, some of you may know that we have transitioned our permit process to an online portal, accessed through our website, for residents and businesses owners working with the construction office for building inspections. The entire staff underwent extensive training over the past year. The system is by Mitchell Humphrey, and it's called Fast Track Gov. Its purpose is to make the permitting process more transparent and user-friendly. It allows applicants to view the progress of their permits and identifies whatever issues must be addressed. This system reduces phone calls to the office and provides immediate information to the end users, which are our residents and business owners. Recently, we included the ability to pay online with a credit card. Our inspectors were also provided with field handheld devices to input their findings, reduce paperwork, and streamline their process. Additionally, the plan is to transfer all historical public documents that are subject to OPRA, to reduce the staff hours necessary to respond to OPRA requests. Our health department has begun the training for a similar transition to streamline health inspections and better serve our residents and business owners who operate in our community. Safety concerns at the intersection of Route 206 and Eggerts Crossing Road. As you may know, this intersection is rather busy during school hours with motor vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic, mostly students walking to and from school. Over the past several years, the intersection has been the subject of study to determine how it can be made safer. Route 206 is a state-owned road, which limits our ability to address the issue on a local level. Recently, our municipal engineer was able to advocate successfully to the New Jersey DOT for positive changes. It has agreed to add a 4-inch wide stripe along the curb line of Eggerts Crossing Road at Route 206 and widen the sidewalk area to increase the buffer zone from motorists' travel lane and the sidewalk. Additionally, we petitioned the New Jersey DOT to create a 25-mile-an-hour school zone at the intersection in both directions along Route 206 to include flashing lights to warn of children in the area. In a letter dated October 27, 2023, the New Jersey DOT informed us that the Division of Traffic Engineering will investigate the current conditions to determine if the requested 25-mile-an-hour zone is warranted. I'll report back to you once we receive their conclusions. Federal City Road and Federal Point warrant analysis for a traffic light. As you know, we have a 55-plus community located on Federal City Road, known as Traditions at Federal Point. The site borders Hopewell Township, which had approved a 300-unit housing development known as Woodmont directly across the street from the entrance of Traditions. With the approval of this large development on the border of Hopewell, the impact to traffic in the area is evident, and the concerns of the residents living nearby were justified. Specifically, our Lawrence residents are currently experiencing difficulty in safety exiting from their development onto Federal City Road, and Ewing and Lawrence residents near the intersection of Bull Run Road and Federal City Road have the same concerns. As a result, officials from Hopewell, Lawrence, Ewing, and Mercer County met to determine how best to address the issues with traffic lights at the forefront, first at Bull Run Road. Since we believe this light would not adequately address the specific needs of our residents, we undertook a warrant analysis study to determine whether a traffic light was justified at the entrance of Traditions. Before installing a traffic light, this type of analysis is required by the New Jersey DOT. And to the gentleman that was for the traffic light, we did that and it's been justified and it has been approved. And we're working to get that light on Fackler Road and Princeton Pike. Yes. I would have said something, but I felt like that interchange was not going to be good. The traffic signal warrant analysis, comprehensive investigation of traffic conditions and physical characteristics. This analysis is required to determine the necessity for the installation of a new traffic signal. Additionally, the analysis is performed to properly assess the roadway infrastructure design and smoother operations of traffic flow. The field observations, existing traffic volumes, and roadway characteristics were compiled and executed in traffic signal warrant analysis worksheets as set forth in the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways. Traffic signal warrant analysis generally involves the investigation of the existing or proposed traffic conditions, pedestrian characteristics, a geometric alignment of the study location. The traffic signal warrant investigation is comprised of analyzing several factors relating to the existing operation and safety of the study location. The factors are utilized to determine if signalization will improve the traffic flow compared to the unsignalized conditions. The law outlines a total of 9 traffic signal warrant criteria, which are applied to determine if signalization is justified. The 105-page report, which I shared to you all recently, can be summarized as follows. The intersections of Federal City Road and Bull Run Road and Federal Point Boulevard both meet the warrant for a traffic signal. While signals are recommended at both intersections, it would be most beneficial to Lawrence residents to have a signal at Federal Point Boulevard. A signal at only Federal Point Boulevard will provide minimal benefit to the intersection of Bull Run Road. Similarly, a signal at only Bull Run Road will provide minimal benefit to the intersection of Federal Point Boulevard. There should be no issue with regard to the proximity of U.S. Route 295. Widening for opposing left lanes would be likely recommended at Federal Point Boulevard. This will result in increased costs and utility impacts. Our traffic consultant wasn't asked to provide an estimate, but our municipal engineer believes the cost would be in the $500,000 range for a signal at that location. I plan to meet with officials from Hopewell and Ewing to discuss plans moving forward if our governing body is supportive. Is my recommendation, based upon the public safety needs, that we aggressively pursue the traffic signal at Federal Point and seek the cooperation and contribution of Hopewell and Ewing for this work. Do I have your approval to move forward? Can I poll the council?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I just ask about the price change? Because previously we had heard a different number for proposed light.
Yeah, it's lane after the study was conducted.
Yes.
Now we know that the lanes need to be widened. So that improvement of the infrastructure of the lanes is driving the cost.
Okay, so it's not a question of if the lanes need to be improved, if they have to be widened there as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, like we should be following what the experts are providing us, so yeah. So this is the game, this is the field that we're playing on right now. If we're going to do it, we need to do it right and widen it, because I think if we do it any other way, that's not consistent with the recommendation, we run the risk of just wasting taxpayer money.
Will we be getting any grant money or anything for that? Nothing for that?
I can't foresee that. We can attempt to recoup that money through a grant at some point in time, But here's the problem. We have residents at Federal Point that are deeply concerned, and speed is an issue. So we need either do it, or we can say we can wait and wait for grants, but I don't want that on me at all. I recommend that we do it, and I hope that you guys agree with me.
Yes.
Do you know, Mr. Manager, if Ewing and Hopewell are still in talks with Lawrence to share the burden of that cost?
Well, that's what this next meeting would be. We've discussed it. We've discussed preliminarily that I believe that Hopewell absolutely should be involved for the traffic light that's going to benefit us. But there's two that's needed. It's a cost of about $1 million. So we're going to see how that all plays out. Hero Park. If you drive by Hammett Park off Ohio Avenue, you see the active work being done to create our dog park, which will include 2 dog run areas and a walking path around the perimeter for pedestrians to use for exercise. We expect the work to be completed in about a month. We need several months to grow the grass within the areas before opening it up for use. April 2024 is the target timeframe for a more formal opening. Colonial Lake Park. As you may have heard, the walking path on the northern side of the lake has been completed, which completes the loop around the lake. We have a lake management grant of $316,800 and funds available for hydro raking, shoreline restoration, and asphalt removal of that portion of the Chef property we acquired behind the bowling lane, and our matching grant requirement is $79,200.
Mr. Manager,
Yes.
is there any, are we gonna do anything about that beaver that keeps taking down the trees?
I'll add that to the list next time.
Thank you.
Eldridge Park, New Jersey DOT presented us with an opportunity to apply for funding of the local project involving pedestrian improvements. It's a pilot program to install porous pavers on the township site to showcase the product and other park improvements. The project would be administered as a grant, but all aspects, design, construction, and inspection, would be funded by the state. We were identified as a possible recipient based upon our reputation and ability to deliver funded projects. We identified Eldridge Park as an area that could be improved with porous walking pavement path around the park's perimeter. It is envisioned as a gently curving path outside the drip line of the mature trees, constructed of porous materials to minimize stormwater impact. Our application includes a request for 4 designated parking spaces, including a handicapped accessible space at the existing depressed curb on 2-Lane Avenue, and miscellaneous park improvements such as benches, trash receptacles, and additional landscaping. The estimated cost we applied for is $415,725, and we do anticipate the New Jersey DOT awarding us that money. This project, if awarded, would complement the planned equipment upgrade through the NJDCA local recreation grant we were awarded of $65,000. And I believe it's critical for us as a municipal government to make sure that all areas of our community are meaningfully addressed for capital improvements, and our community parks are a good means to improve the quality of life for the nearby residents. Lawrence Nature Center. As you know, we received grant funds for $88,000 for improvements to the exterior of the grounds of the Nature Center. We've all discussed that the Nature Center is underutilized, and it's a really cool asset that I think if we do some more improvements to, can open it up to the community in a variety of different ways. The design is to create and install a more formal parking area, fix the patio on one side of the building, and install lighting to better improve accessibility to the building. We have begun the design work. We also have some funding designated in the capital fund to complete this work. In addition to the exterior work, we are exploring possibilities for a project that will include interior furnishings, lighting upgrades for potential displays and exhibits for the ground floor of the Nature Center, and detached garage. Career firefighting hirings. We received a list of eligible firefighters from New Jersey Civil Service several months ago. Those that were eligible were required to take physical skills examination. And once that was completed, we received the final eligibility list. We then conducted 6 interviews for the 3 available positions. Offers of employment will be going out over the next couple of days. Report and recommendations for the new fire and EMS station for Lawrence Township. As everyone knows, we received a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for $725,000. The grant award aims to provide funding for engineering and architectural design, environmental studies, and preparation of bid documents for a new centralized emergency management operations center. The township engaged Cotter Strategies, a fire and emergency services consulting firm, for the first phase of the process, specifically to study the existing fire stations and perform a need assessment to better understand what will be required for a new central station. This determines the type and size of the facility we need as a community for a central fire, EMS, and 911 facility. We do expect to receive the report in the coming months. The preliminary conclusion is that the study team supports the construction of the new facility at the proposed location adjacent to the municipal building, and that a central facility will provide important benefits. Reducing the number of fire station houses will reduce duplication of equipment and apparatus, resulting in significant cost savings for the taxpayers. One of the individuals that came up for public participation is failing to consider that we have very strong mutual aid agreements for our surrounding communities that provide response from Hamilton to West Windsor, Trenton, and Ewing. So we are not in this firefighting process alone. We have agreements in place with others, and oftentimes when we're unable to respond or get an apparatus out, mutual aid kicks in and we get the apparatus to the location. Moreover, a new facility will provide improved facilities for the health and safety of personnel, integration of the EMS and fire operations, further integration of the career and volunteer members as a part of the combination organization, co-location of the Office of Emergency Management, Emergency Operations Center, the local 911 Emergency Communication Center, and potential other administrative offices. Once the report is received, it will be shared with you and the community. I will say this publicly. I value the volunteer fire company's service to our community in the past, the present, and the foreseeable future. I'm committing to taking responsible action to support and improve the volunteer firefighting service to our community. In addition, we are years and years away, and this is the beginning part of a process that was based upon a fire study that we conducted and received a report on that indicated that our best opportunity for public safety to achieve in firefighting is to have a central station, and we're acting upon that. Public hearings, public input, that's all well in the future, if and when we get to the point where the governing body will approve of a new facility that could be upwards of $15 million or so. So we just got the grant to see where we are, what we would need to do, and then it will be up to all of you to decide whether or not it's an appropriate thing to do after receiving public response.
Do you have a timeline on when that sort of phase one will be available to
Within a week or two.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. And I've said this publicly before, and I'll say it again, public safety is, I think, our number one obligation as a municipal government. And fire service and EMT service is absolutely critical part of that. Craft Cleaners site and the pit stop site. 1840 Brunswick Avenue is presently a vacant and abandoned lot along Brunswick Avenue across from Burger King that we have targeted to address in some meaningful way as it languished for decades, first as an abandoned building that used to be the site of a local business known as Craft Cleaners, which was demolished through township efforts years ago. The land is currently owned by a defunct LLC with unresponsive members who acquired the property. I believe through a sheriff sale that then realized its potential for being contaminated, and the LLC simply ceased operating as a business entity, leaving the land unattended and left to accumulate tax liens. As we began the process of actually doing the work necessary to improve Brunswick streetscape, a concept in existence for decades but not meaningfully acted upon, we identified this vacant site as an important piece to address. Much like we handled the pit stop site, we applied for a New Jersey EDA grant under the HDSRF program and received a grant for $132,845. The grant was to fund a preliminary assessment and site investigation of the property to determine the extent of the contamination and the need for remediation. Since receiving the approval, we have engaged Langen Environmental Group to perform the assessment and site investigation. That work has started, and that process will take some time. Once it's completed, we will have a better understanding of the remediation work necessary to get the property clean. Once the New Jersey DEP issues a no further action letter, we hope to obtain title through foreclosure. However, in contrast to the pit stop application, the ultimate goal for this site is for redevelopment consistent with our overall goal of improving Brunswick Avenue as a pedestrian-friendly mixed-use area. For the pit stop, the preliminary assessment and site investigation has been completed, and the final report has been submitted to the New Jersey DEP for approval. We are waiting for a response so that we can further understand the grant funding we'll need to get for remediation work to be done. The 2024 budget process. Department heads had submitted their budgets to our CFO, Peter Kyriakakis. Pete has provided me with a copy and has conducted his preliminary meetings with the department heads. We will then get together to begin the preparation of the recommended budget to present to the governing body. Once the new council members are sworn at reorganization, the governing body can work out the plan for the budget, the public budget process. Grant game. Throughout my report, you have heard the word grants. We are committed to keeping our community vibrant and moving forward with improvements by funding these projects from grants. As I began as municipal manager, it was readily apparent that we did not have a formal grant program with a designated and dedicated staff member to be the point person. We made the decision to make our part-time municipal engineer, Brenda Kramer, a full-time employee and have her take over our designated grant person. She's done an amazing job, and we have improved our ability to identify grants, apply for them, and execute them when funds are received. It has also motivated our department heads to find grant opportunities to help realize their vision for services that they hope to provide to the community. For 2023, we applied for over $6,088,847 in grants and have been awarded $3,608.84 in grant funds. With applications for over $2,934,732 and $675,867 already awarded for 2024. These funds allow us to improve our infrastructure when our finances would preclude us from doing so, and also reduce the amount we would need from our taxpayers for an amount that we are awarded, millions of dollars each year. I want to hand out to you our best practices for 2023, our responses. This is, for those of you that are unaware, the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services requires that each municipality in Lawrence Township fill out a best practices inventory worksheet. And it's a list of 70 some odd questions that we need to answer. And they use our responses to determine the level of state aid that we receive. I can tell you that out of a possible 42 points, Lawrence Township has obtained a score of 39. We are well above the highest ranking, and that would trigger us to have no aid withholding from the state. So we're going to get our full amount of aid that we're supposed to receive from the state. The best practices inventory features new and repeat questions on the following topics: ethics, personnel, budget, financial administration, capital projects, transparency, procurement, cybersecurity, lead remediation, shared services, special improvement districts, solid waste, recycling, utilities, and environment. The low scores are between 0 and 20. The mid-range is 21 and 24. The upper middle range is 25 and 28. The highest range is 29 and greater. And as I told you, we were at 39. Our superintendent of recreation has asked me to indicate the following events that are happening. Deck the town hall, tree lighting, and more. December 8th, this starts at 6 p.m. Cookie decorating, reindeer food making, trackless train rides, mechanical reindeer is new this year, hot chocolate and cookies. Holiday house decorating contest is going to be between December 1st and December 14th. Houses around town compete for the title of the best decorated holiday house and other categories. It's always a very hotly contested competition. And the Jolly Trolley is scheduled for December 15th. It's the drive around town in a Victorian style trolley and enjoy the wonderfully decorated houses in Lawrence Township. And, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We're going to the attorney's report.
I'll save my comments for closed session, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roscoe. Madam Clerk, the clerk's report. No mind. Yours is yours.
Well, first I want to congratulate you and also the challenge. But we got through it. We got a few copies, but overall, I'm still here. All right, and, we'll be working on, just working on the reorg, what we'll be starting to work on the reorg boards and committees to get ready for next year, which is a big thing. Okay?
Unfinished business, new business. Public participation, you have 3 minutes. Sorry, same thing, you already signed in.
You already signed in.
Yeah, just take the name again for the record.
So, it's sort of like we were never clear. We've expressed concern about the firehouse and the amount of traffic in excess of 400 cars a day, 500 to 600 feet daily that will be dumped onto West Long Drive. And I want to make it clear that we will litigate every step of the way to stop this. This should not be done at the expense of our quality of life and the values that we work so hard on our properties. There's other places it should have been in the new development zone on Princeton Pike. That's where the fire company should have went. But somebody, they weren't paying attention. That's what should have gotten. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else for public participation? 3 minutes?
Somebody said that there's 34,000 residents.
You already signed in, ma'am, would you state your name once again? Thank you.
Mr. Russo, I'm so blown away that I was thinking, well, you do the house and then maybe we'll apply to the land. If you're talking $15 million, that is a full complex that you're putting attached to a residential community. Do you know that at night when the police do their stuff, they test their alarms? And I hear it all hours of the night. I don't call and complain. But the fire engines, I mean, I just hear them go down 206, and there are other neighborhoods that have these beautiful fire stations with wonderful heroes to me. But those neighborhoods, they won't move there without intent. They knew it existed. We have moved here through this peaceful neighborhood. This neighborhood has always been a well-respected neighborhood. We had our mayor live there, and then when she moved, she sold to Eden House. And you don't even know all the zooming down that the workers do when they're driving down our neighborhood. It's crazy. To add more, I just think, I hope you guys can sleep at night because we won't be.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, very, very disappointed.
Mr. Gentleman in the back, all the way.
One more.
Just hold on 1 second, sir.
Okay.
You don't mind here? The gentleman raises, yes, sir. Thank you. If you come up, I don't believe you were up before, so if you sign your name and your address and then state it on the record. Thank you. Sir, and I hope you, hopefully everyone while we're waiting for Veterans Day.
The timing.
Wait, just 1 second on,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that's all.
For Veterans Day is
No problem.
Saturday.
Understand?
Thanks, sir.
I live at 61 West Long Drive.
I'm sorry?
I live at 61 West Long.
Oh, you have to say your name, please.
William, by myself.
Thank you, sir.
Probably one of the oldest families in the neighborhood. I've been here since 1962. And we've endured rider getting built and cutting off roads. I listen to music constantly, all day long from riders. Some kid back there has got his loudspeaker in the field, and it goes day and night. And we've got it down to about 8 in the morning to about 6 p.m. now. And we fought for a law. We were supposed to get a lowered 295, and they changed the plans, and they raised it up, and we have to do it in noise from that. So now we're going to have to do it in noise from a fire station on all 4 sides. I don't think it's fair.
think we've been doing enough nonsense from Ryder, from the township, and from the state. One on each side of it. Actually, there are two sides to me. And also, I can't get out my driveway because of the employees parking at the food bank. It's directly across the street. And they've got no parking signs down the Westland Drive, but again, that's where their house. Don't understand why. But and I don't know, how much more do we have to take? Been through it all. And my wife asked me to be here to speak to you, because she wasn't available. She's not available. She's out of town. And just please take that into consideration.
Thank you so much for coming.
All I need to know is the timing of when we're gonna put those traffic lights on. What is the time?
Yeah,
Because-
listen, I don't have that information. I wasn't prepared for you to come up here, but you could call me tomorrow and I could do the research and let you know.
Okay, I'll have to give you a phone number.
Yeah,
You go
I'm
right
around.
on the website.
Yeah.
You'll see it on there.
My number is 914-980. 980. 985.
Mr. James.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. James.
I'll talk to you.
Just state your name, sir.
John Clark.
John Clark.
John Clark again. The reason why I had mentioned some of my experiences was really not to brag or anything, but I wanted to talk about what mattered to the community, and as someone who has been on the scene of fires, who evacuated, supported the evacuations of thousands of American citizens in the Middle East, as well as hundreds of corporate employees after major disasters, including earthquakes, volcano eruptions, and the like. I really want to know from Kevin how having all of our emergency first responders in one location on one of the most crowded intersections will be helpful. And I don't know any firefighter who, if they had the option of responding to a fire with highly combustible materials and very densely populated areas, would choose to respond and be comfortable with the response time of 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes plus versus 3 minutes or 4 minutes. These are life and death situations, and public safety for the majority of our residents matter.
It
And
does.
so I think we have to be very cognizant of not placing all the first responders and our resources in one place. I saw 295 today. It was tough, but this is a daily occurrence every morning at 8 a.m. Sure, there's other ways, but I just want to say that there's certain ways to get to the east side of town. But right now, there's no coverage compared to the coverage. We have 3 fire stations within 5 minutes of Long Acres. But over here, where we have 800 unit buildings, 400 unit buildings, 300, the largest complexes in the whole township are all east, off of Route 1 and Quaker Ridge Road. We have a duty to protect our firefighters and not put them in a situation of danger so that they're arriving 7 minutes later, 10 minutes later, when they can be right there.
So let me just tell you, since you asked me, that number one, we have on our website the fire study that was conducted.
I saw
Okay,
that.
okay, and number two, you're assuming that you're assessing that all 3 fire stations respond to fire calls in our community, and that's not accurate. Not all the time. The numbers of scratches, if we're going to be transparent about this, which is what is driving this, the number of scratches that take place is alarming to the point where public safety is a deep concern. So when you're assessing that every fire station is fully occupied by volunteers and by career staff that will get out, you're wrong. That's just not how it goes. We are in a transition right now, and we've identified that we, at some point in time, And we're no different than any other community in the United States in terms of the numbers of people volunteering to their closest local neighborhood firehouse has reduced dramatically over the last 25 years. It doesn't exist. These people that do it are wonderful, amazing community servants. And when you have the information and when you have the experts and the consultants all saying that towns that were reliant upon volunteer firehouses that now are failing to respond, the response to that is a centralized station where you have the ability to immediately respond. We've done the study.
Starting the main point, first of all. So I think all having all the.
Mayor, we're having a debate right now during public comment.
I think.
Yeah, good.
I mean, you're saying
That's
that I'm
fine.
assuming I'm assessing, I'm just assessing. I just want to say that if the highest risk of 4 and 5 alarm fires is further east, we need to be cognizant of that risk and we have to dedicate resources to that.
I agree.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
to put it here where the single family homes are is not appropriate when we already have great coverage. The coverage is strong.
It's not, you're saying we have great coverage and we don't have great coverage. And that's the fact.
Can I just say one thing?
Can somebody else
Would
speak?
you indulge me in one comment?
Somebody.
Actually, no, I believe the last council meeting, Councilman Powers told us it's not a question and answer.
Okay. There's also a council comment, Mayor. Mayor, the council can comment. It's our agenda. So
I
we-
was commenting last time, and you told me this is not a question.
And that's fine. It's fine, it's fine.
But just move on. Is there, please come up, state your name and your address. Just write your address down. Thank you. And state your name, so.
My name's John Cavello. I certainly want to talk about two things very quickly. I'm pleased to hear that the council and the town is committed to transparency and disclosure. On the firehouse issue, I just want to have a good thing. You're talking about a major operational change throughout this town. Please take your time.
That's what we're
You
doing.
have 2 more meetings for the rest of this year. You noted a 40% turnover. This will affect this town for decades. It is a major operational change we're looking at. I worked as a chief of staff in a town that had 300,000 people coming through it. It was always about expanding public safety, not consolidation. So all I'm saying on the policy end, of what this council's responsibility, you need a major community involvement and dialogue throughout multiple steps over time before anything is decided. So I want to take up the dialogue aspect of this, that this should be only beginning. Second thing I have a question on the agenda that I think for a matter of transparency and public understanding. I see on miscellaneous on item 325, and I understand it is in closed session, so I'm asking for the details. But can you explain what exactly you're discussing as what is a Faulkner Act violation for the benefit of the public? And I address that to you, Mr. Mayor, for whoever is most appropriate to answer my question.
That would be for the council, Mr. Roscoe.
The Faulkner Act is a reference to the statutes that created different forms of municipal government in the state of New Jersey. I think you're familiar with that, Mr.
Well,
Bell.
what exactly is a violation that's being?
Well,
so without getting
a
into the
violation of the Faulkner Act can be a failure to adhere to those statutory requirements. In other words, if the statute isn't being followed, then you have a violation of the Faulkner Act.
But who or what type of official within Lawrence Township is this being directed at that you need to go into executive session?
Well, that's why we're in executive session. When this is resolved, it'll be a public discussion.
So if I understand it right, you can't even tell us the nature of a violation of the governing rules of this
It's
town.
still being investigated and the governing body is still deliberating. So no, you're right. We can't right now, not at this point, no.
I think this is the kind of thing that if you can't explain the use of the statutes of what this governing body is looking at, even in an executive session. That doesn't help build public confidence and trust in what's being done. And I just implore that you give us some basic information of what can be disclosed publicly.
No, and I just did.
So you're telling me a violation of what part of the statute is being addressed cannot be discussed in public?
Well, we have a certain form of government. We're a council form of government. And there's a provision within the council form of government which we have been informed may be violated. We're dealing with it right now. We're going to resolve it. At the end of that effort, it will be something that we can discuss in public.
Well, I think you have an obligation to this community. If you're looking to exercise things under state law that you think somebody's violating, that we know the circumstances. I understand you can't get into who it's about, but the circumstances.
Well, I think the investigation has to be concluded before we start to talk about it, because we want to know what we're talking about. All right?
I hope at the next meeting you're prepared to provide some public information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Exactly what he was doing.
Is there anyone else? Come on up. Just take your name, sir.
DOC lot, 40 West Church Road. I appreciate that we have came to the conclusion that essentially the interest in this property is a potential central fire station. I just hope that in the future, instead of calling it a public works building, which doesn't seem like that's the intention, that we just call it a firehouse.
It can't be.
You know, we say we're building firehouse. That seems to be what the manager's report was, and so that's just my conclusion, so.
Mr. Mayor, no. I would like an opportunity. We cannot have misinformation in our community. Can I respond?
Yes.
Thank you. I have emphatically said publicly that 3 West Long Drive has been identified as a potential site for the Public Works executive offices. I said it on Facebook. I'm saying it right now. It has nothing to do with the fire station at all. At all. We have a site on Baker's Basin Road, the Public Works facility, that has flooded multiple times over the years. And Mr. Whitehead is here. He's the director. He's gone through those floods. His office has been flooded. Machines have been flooded. We have been at the point where operations have been jeopardized. So what we did, knowing that the flood plains have changed over the course of time, we have passively been looking for an additional public works site, a site to move away from there because of the flooding. That is something that could cost millions of dollars. And, you know, for the people that are here, any site is going to generate different people that are living near it, like you. So I'll say this once, we are a town of 34,000 people, and decisions have to be made, and there's not going to be 100% buy-in by everybody because somebody's going to be adversely affected, but you still have to make the right decisions. So we thought, wow, that site is open. It's close to the municipal building. Wouldn't it be a convenient way to get the public to not have to go on Baker's Basin Road, to go there on the sporadic times that they have to do business with the Public Works Department, have the 3 or 4 individuals that are going to work out of there in the executive offices close to our campus, and save millions of dollars not looking for an entire facility to move. That was the thinking. It's very, very, very preliminary. There's been no decision made. And these people up here, once it gets to it, there will be a public discussion and determination and vote in front of everybody with regard to it. But an offer has not even been presented at this point in time. So that's it. Emphatically, I will go to bed and I will rest easy at night to letting you guys know that the only thing that's identified for that area is the same structure to exist, instead of an LLC potentially buying it and having 8 students live out of it with 8 different cars and a ton of activity. We're proposing we could use it, save millions of dollars, have a very, very light use to that same exact looking structure, put a ramp on there because we need to if the public is coming. And that's what it was. Yeah. And it's nowhere near $1 million. But so that's the thought. So I want all of you to walk out of here absolutely emphatically understanding that the discussions that we've had in closed session have all been about the public works offices, which is the director, an administrative assistant, and a couple supervisors who are going to be on the road doing other things most of the time. So that's it. There's no trucks. It's offices. There's no trucks. The Baker's Basin Road will exist as a facility. That's why and it will stay there. All the trucks and all the operation and all that is there. It's just offices. If we had offices in this building, they would be here. We just don't have offices in this building. So that's all. I mean, I just, the claims of transparency are really difficult to take.
We're not here to yell out on us, all right? On both ends, we appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anyone else for public participation? Please come up.
I had no intention
Could you
of,
state your name, please?
Amy Tramontana, 20 West Church Road. I'm the one that always has the Halloween out there. And thank you to all my neighbors that are here tonight. I need you to know that my husband's been in our home for 68 years. We've had to deal with, like we've said before, not getting a wall, me having to clean my windows constantly from the soot from the highway behind me. But I love my home and I absolutely love my neighborhood. I've known Nick, I know Vic, I know all these neighbors in here except the new ones, and I welcome all every single one of these. I am pleading to you guys to listen to everything that every single one of these men and women have said tonight, because we really are dealing with a wonderful neighborhood and we really don't want anything else more to take away from our quality of life back here. That's all we're asking, just to leave us alone. Leave us alone. We pay enough in taxes, believe me. Everyone here will tell you that, and you guys know that. Leave us alone. Just put your office somewhere else. Find a spot.
Is there anyone else for public participation? 3 minutes. Sir, sir? Your state name again, sir?
No.
Mike, thank you.
Hey, I'm Dr. Luzardo. Again, this is almost laughable, right? A major decision being made by an administration that's in transition. Think about that. Think about where we're at. Like that's just. Here's the thing. The people here, I know them personally, and chances are we're gonna. And because what we're fighting for really is for our kids, for the places that we sleep, for our safety. Right? And this meeting, I think this was really an opportunity for all of us to come together and to say, yeah, you know what? We hear you, this is understandable, but that's not what we got. I mean, what we got was someone from the other side of the room pointing at people's faces. I mean, talking about character. I mean, really unprofessional, right? When the community's coming forward, the community, the people that pay taxes, right? On $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 homes saying, wait a second, please listen to us, right? So we're all incredibly disappointed because we're coming here to have a conversation, but we're not having a conversation. Literally, we're not having a conversation. I honestly think this is not a decision that should be made now. I don't think this decision actually, hearing some of the experts in the room, I'm like, I don't think this was a decision that we vetted out completely. And also, I don't think this was a decision that involved any of the people in this room that are living within the place where the decision's being made. And I think that's why people are so angry. This should be moved forward to January. And if not, you better believe, how many of us are gonna show up every council meeting to have a conversation about this?
Mr. Mayor, can I interject for one moment? There's no decision being made today about a firehouse being built on the front lawn of this campus. No decision being made today. So if I could just finish, please. That's where I feel like this is getting spun out of control by the chair and others, that there's no decision being made on this.
There's a decision being made about an appraisal. You make the first decision and you pick off a series of decisions.
For the public works building, which I understand I'm splitting hairs there.
And I'm gonna just leave it at that. See, this gymnastic with words is the problem. There is a decision being made about a house that's gonna turn into a commercial building, or there is a decision being made. You gotta call it what it is.
And yet,
right?
that decision has not been made yet. It is on the agenda.
Exactly.
And I'll leave it
So
at that.
we're here letting you know how we feel about that decision, right? And trying to have a conversation.
Like, there's gonna be
Again,
a public discussion.
we just want to be listened to and have a conversation with you guys. We don't want to turn this into a back and forth.
It's not. It's not.
Stop smiling and
It's not.
making insinuations. It's not right.
It's not right.
Doctor, my apologies.
Sorry?
No, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do not like.
You'll have to come up again, sir.
I do not like the sarcastic faces that Kevin Nowinski is making and the insinuations that he is making while he's casting those faces. That is not the way to conduct yourself in a public meeting.
Mayor, could I just make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Just, I know everybody is, whenever you get information, there's a lot of, reaction to it. And I just want to urge everybody, patience.
We did get the information.
Right, and you've expressed yourself tonight, and you've been heard, sir. But I would like to remind you guys, Trenton Block was the same situation. There was anger by the neighborhoods of Colonial Heights, and the planning board took action in response to the feedback from the taxpayers, from the residents, and did not go forward with expanding Trenton Block. You guys have expressed yourself tonight. Believe me, you have been heard. But what we're trying to tell everybody is patience. This is the beginning of a process, a long process. We are going to go into closed session to talk about land acquisition. We are just getting information from you, and now we're going to go into closed session, and we're going to talk about it at the beginning stages. This is all hypothetical. No action has been taken, and before, as Manager Nowinski has said, before any action is taken, there'll be a public hearing with input and your feedback. So please, I know everybody has anger and frustration, but please, I just urge everybody patience. Thanks.
Thank you. I will thank you. So the only request is before you even take action on an appraisal, have that closed session. And then let's have that.
It's to authorize the manager to do something, and then we're going into closed session. I know. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. We're going to talk about, the mayor's asked that to be pulled, so we're going to talk about that.
Anyone else with 3 minutes, please come up and say. Just state your name, please. Thank you.
Sylvia Cobus, again. Since Trenton Block had been invoked just now in comparison, just a fair warning, that was planned to be snagged by us. And because of that letter that I mentioned before, just once again, we got a letter of notice for Township Council meeting which stated that the planning board had already approved the zoning change before the actual meeting of the planning board happened. And that was sent out to us in June of 2023. And the meetings were happening in July, day after day. Planning board was meeting on the 18th of July, and Township Council was meeting on the 19th. That was happening the same week. So just to let you know that don't let go and fight for your neighborhood. Thank
Is there anyone else for public participation for your minutes? Seeing none, we're gonna close that. Thank you. Can I get a motion for 18A?
Mayor, I'll move 18D1 through H13 excluding H10 if there is no objection.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bobbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki?
Yes.
Ms. McDuff?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mayor Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor, I'll move 18H10.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bobbitt?
No.
Mr. Kanaki?
No.
Ms. McDuff?
No.
Mr. Powers?
No.
Mayor Ryan?
No.
Mayor, I move we go into closed session.
We didn't vote on.
Oh.
We didn't vote on, we only moved, 18 D through H, 13 or 12, whatever it was, with the exception of 10.
Yeah.
And we didn't vote on that. We just really moved it, I think, right, Tanya? Or did we
No, we
vote?
voted.
I thought the motion was to move everything except H10.
Yeah, did we vote on it? Okay.
Is that right, Tanya?
Yes.
I was
Yes. Up to 10.
It didn't have that 10 being, I thought.
Oh, I thought it was everything, but I don't know how the motion got made now, so I don't remember.
Everything is at 18H10, right?
10, which was the acquisition.
Yeah, that's right, which was segregated.
Yes.
So we did vote on everything else?
Yes.
Yep.
Right, okay, all right.
Council, any liaison reports?
Just wanted to announce, gentlemen, the veteran, Saturday, 11/11/11, out front here. We will be having our veteran service that day. You should have received a postcard from us. Being a veteran, getting a $250 deductible, you should have got a postcard requesting you to be here. I hope you got it. And anybody else out there, newly elected, you're welcome to come to, just like the rest of the council, welcome to come here that night. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Sir?
The DEI committee had done a survey of Lawrence Township residents about sort of the state of the township in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The committee is looking to make a presentation to council in our last meeting, so just be ready for that.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else up here? Seeing none, we're going to, and no written communications. We thank you for coming out and your input. We're going to go into a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see our next meeting is Tuesday, December 5th, 6:30. Please be careful going home. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Dangerous.